You know, yeah. Yeah, looks like they've been here a while. Designated a National Historic Landmark in 1966. Well, okay.
That must be the year of that picture. Of Granny didn't have one to reopen it.
Look. Hello, Dolly.
I got a few more for you. Okay, well, come along and we'll get started then. We're going to get over there in front of the porch. Okay? Thank you. Just have to. That's fine. Did you come get the key? Dawn did. Okay. It's reliant on our phone line, so if there's any kind of interruption, yeah.
And the internet too.
That's what it is.
We want everything on the internet. Yep.
Yeah, Stockton.
Maybe I should get a quick signature down there. And then I'll trade you this. It's your copy and your card. And like Tom said, just be your line out there. He'll be waiting for you. Thank you very much.
I didn't see anything that said no photography. Swag making. That's some little hangy down things, right?
Yep.
Hello. Ooh, look behind you.
We're going to talk about that in a few minutes.
Patrick.
Close the door.
The statesman. Oh, I thought she was that was what she was doing. I got better manners than that.
Well, thank you for coming. This is the home Patrick Henry lived in for about 5.5 years before he became our first governor. Well, originally this property that we're standing on was inhabited by Monacans and Monohoic Native Americans. There are still Monacans in Virginia, but Monohoic. The chair is missing from the house here on the addition.
No, you don't need to.
Yeah, I forgot somebody on the last floor took the chair from this room and put it in that room. Well, we call this the ladies' chamber because of those two windows right there and the fact that it's right here at the back door of the house. You see, the lady of the house would be in this room. She would arise each morning and could look out those windows right there. She should expect to see enslaved people working back and forth between buildings or middle. Things that are necessary for a large plantation like laundries and well houses and smoke houses and so forth. The lady of the house could rise, get up, look at the window, see enslaved people working back and forth between those buildings and say, "My plantation is up and running. I can take care of my baby perhaps, do a little needlework maybe. Later in the day, she might say, I should meet with the overseers of the plantation and to see how the field crops are doing. When the Henrys lived here, they farmed corn, tobacco, and wheat. They may have had as many as 3 overseers. We don't really know for sure. I'm sure they had at least one. If the lady of the house wanted to meet with the overseers, she probably had them come in that very door that we just came in and walk right into this room right here. She wouldn't want them traipsing in their muddy boots throughout the rest of the house, so they would come right into this room. Now, you might say,
Well, it might not be his, but all right.
well, we call this the family room. At the end of the day, the family might gather in here to sit around. Maybe the younger children might play puzzles or dolls or whatever. Older children or young adults might play cards, or they might play chess. They might even sit around and talk with each other. Can you imagine such a concept, conversation? See, back in Henry's day, the internet service out here was awful. And so they actually had to converse with each other.
And read books.
And read books and so forth. Henry might actually pick up his violin and play music for the family. That's not his violin, but it is a period violin. He was considered by all who knew him to be a superb violinist. He was considered a great musician.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
By all but one person. One person is said to have said of Mr. Henry, nah, he's an average fiddle player, you know? Not a superb violinist. Now, who do you think might have said something like that?
His wife?
1736. That's the date Patrick Henry was born. He was born in a place we would today call Mechanicsville, Virginia, about 25 miles east of us over here. In his day, though, he was born at a plantation, a large and prosperous plantation called Studley. Studley was owned by a man named John Sim, who was married to a woman named Sarah Winston Sim. Together, she and he had a son they named Junior, John Sim Jr. Well, when Junior was around 5 years old, the senior Mr. Sim passed away. He died. And then, you know what Farrington Fire Department is? On Route 33? Well, just across the street from Farrington Fire Department, there's a road called Stonehorse Creek Road. About a mile and a half down Stonehorse Creek Road. On the right, you'll see 2 brick columns and an old house off in the field. On one of the columns, it'll say Mount Brilliant. On the other column, it'll have another name that they've used for that property. Now, that house that you see was built in the 19th century because the 18th century house was burned. But it is built on the original house. And the Henry's father and 2 of his sisters are buried over there in the Henry graveyard. Well, oh, by the way, it is private property, so don't go running around.
I was just saying,
Get shot.
what's it close to? Where, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, look, they make cakes like you do.
Yeah, so it's not far from here. Well, Henry, if you were visiting here, you would probably be served a meal in this very room. This was an adults-only dining room. No children could eat in here. They had to eat maybe in the kitchen or in other rooms. If you were my guest, if I were Mr. Henry and you were my guest tonight, I would be expected to serve you tea. Tea was incredibly expensive in those days, however. It had to be imported by Great Britain from China, and then we had to import it from Great Britain to here. By the time it got here, it was quite expensive. The prominent people were expected to serve it over to the attic.
There's one that goes in that way. Is it reaching the same? Or
Yeah, that's
like a little separate
closet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the end, is that an exterior door?
Yeah, you go to that side. Meals would have been brought in from the
Okay, from the
kitchen.
outside kitchen. Okay.
Do they know if this pattern of China, is that similar to what he had?
It's similar, these are modern places though.
It's like a piece of wood.
It's not exactly perfect, but it is similar to something.
Oh, it's out of wood with engraving on it. That's
Now,
nice.
it is one authentic Henry-owned piece of furniture in this room. room, and it is that chair behind that door right there. That chair looks like a dining chair to me. What we have in the bedroom. That was actually owned by Patrick and Sarah Henry. And I know you're dying to know, yes, it's been reupholstered in the last 250 years. People ask me that sometimes. I'll also point out
ugly wig.
that wig over there on that little shaving table right there, that is a 250-year-old barrister's wig from the period. It is made, as most of them were made back then, of horsehair primarily. Henry had to wear a wig when he was in court. He had to wear a wig when he was in the House of Burgesses. He despised having to wear a wig. He did not like wearing a wig. He is known at times, if he was in a heavy argument with another lawyer in court, or in an angry exchange with another legislator in the House of Burgesses, he is known at times to have ripped and built a little three-room house. He moves away from Hanover Tavern into Louisa County in late 1764. The people in Louisa love him.
Yes, he did.
They think he... This young lawyer is a great man. And
Smoothbore.
Pat Henry. It doesn't say Patrick, it says Pat Henry. Do you ever think about that hero using nicknames like that? Well, Patrick would have signed things P. Henry, Pat Henry, or Patrick Henry Jr., so he wouldn't be confused with his uncle. He did that right up to the time his uncle died. Well, Patrick Henry is now living in Louisa County, making money as a lawyer, making a reputation for himself. Life is good. In early 1771, well, late 1770, this place comes up for sale. Patrick Henry decides to buy it. It's the grandest house in central Virginia. He moves his family here in early 1771. As I said earlier, his wife Sarah delivered their sixth child here, and she took ill. She was beginning to suffer mental illness, and she got progressively worse as the months went by. Finally, in 1774, she had to be restrained in a straitjacket. She had gotten so dangerous, she was that insane, if you will. She got progressively worse. The house in the outbuilding, he paid £600 for all of that. He lived in it for 5.5 years. He sold it in 1778, 7 years after purchasing it. When he sold the place, he sold it for £5,000. So he made a really tiny profit off of this place. Now, he sold it in 1778. He went through a number of different owners until 1801, when a man named John Mosby Shepherd bought it. Now, if you're from around here, you might have heard that name before. A man named John Mosby Shepherd owned a place in Hanover County known as Meadow Farm. They're not the same man. They were related, but not the same. Those shepherds liked the names John Mosby. And so the one that bought this place and the one that owned Meadow Farm are two different men. In any event, in 1801, John Mosby Shepherd bought it. In 1941, a woman named Sally Taylor passed away while living in this house. And when she passed away, the place looked like that.
Berries on it, and I was like, yeah, it's going to tell you what, if you want to take some of it along with you, since I don't have the space, please go ahead.
You want to sit down? Go on a limb with some pine cones.
We got pine cones out of the wazoo on the trees.
Yeah, because I can just have it like
Open up.
Well,
You.
sir, thank you again. That's such a pleasant
Whoops.
surprise.
Oh, you're welcome. Glad you enjoyed it. It stayed on pretty well when I tried to get it off. No, I turned it back around where it belongs by the handles and push down. There you go.
Oh, okay, great. Did you happen to see the one that is on the door of the cellar?
Get a view of Murderer's Row making Reese there.
Yeah, the these ladies, I think, they're all looking into the sun.
I got sunscreen on.
I take it that's not your jacket and purse over there, right?
Jacket around my butt and
That's what I say, that's yours.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Your understanding. We're good. We're good.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Y'all have a good day.
Thank
Man, you
you.
couldn't have gotten any better weather.
Merry Christmas.
And to y'all.
Thank you. Maybe I should say Happy Christmas. They didn't do the merry so much.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
All right, take care.